This is our life. This is my caregiving life with my grandma. Just put that over there. Okay. So this, you guys, is a sensory pillow. Sensory pillow, sensory pillow, sensory pillow. And, people are saying they love you, Grandma. My grandmother has dementia, so she's not able to really understand all the way, but she can feel the love. So this is, I'm going on live. There's a couple things that I'm doing on live. We're doing some spring cleaning, number one. Number two, Grandma has to be stimulated every single day. So there's a lot of things that we do. That's why she has all this plastic and stuff in her hand, because I was in the middle of cleaning and she really was gravitating toward like the plastic bags, so I let her have them. But we also have this, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it is a sensory pillow. And so what it does is, they basically just, people with dementia, or really just anyone with like high anxiety or like special needs, kids all the way to adults. But I have this specifically for her condition for dementia. And it's a sensory pillow, so it pretty much just gives them something to do and keeps their anxiety really, really low, and they just stay really focused on, like, it's kind of like a project, like pulling things apart, attaching things back together. So here you go, Graham. Perfect. I'm going to take this little guy off because we put him on, so I'm going to take him off. He's not with it. But I just like added it on there. It's like another layer. But so then she'll kind of just like have it and hold it, and it just keeps her really calm. And I do have an Amazon store where I put a bunch of options for people to be able to just get it real quick. If you have a loved one or someone with Alzheimer's, or a loved one with dementia or Alzheimer's, I'm telling you, this is going to save your life. Not really for people that have the condition in the earlier stages, but for people that have it, I would say moderate to advanced. This is something really, really good for them to have. And then she just goes into like some of these like meditative states, which I allow her, I want her to go into them, because it kind of just like, she's kind of soothing herself, kind of like a meditative, just kind of keeping calm. And there's a lot going on inside. Well, technically, with dementia, her brain cells are dying, so she might be feeling sensations up there. You just never really know, to be honest. But anything to just keep her calm and keep her happy is my main prerogative when it comes to me caring for her every day. So, see what she's doing? So yeah, so she just had that. So what I'm going to do is, while she has the sensory pillow, I'm also going to get organized. My grandmother used to be obsessed with organization. I mean, back when there was cassette tapes, for some of you might not even know what that is, but back when there was cassette tapes and VHSs and just basically everything, she used to have everything titled, numbered, what aisle, what section in the aisle, where at in the cupboard. She would place them. She would literally buy like an entire, I guess you could say like a kind of like a wardrobe type of, or like a book cabinet type, and she would line everything up, and then she would make a book and title everything, number everything, and then it would correspond with what it looked like in the bookcase. So she's always been obsessed with organizing. So when I do organizational stuff around the house, it keeps her feeling like she's involved, and it keeps her feeling like she's part of the decisions. And I'll show her things like, oh, Grandma, where should I put this? And even if she's not really even answering me back, it's just still a way to keep her engaged. So that's what I'm going to start doing. You guys are more than welcome to, ask me about any questions that you guys may have or anything like that. I'm also drinking my tea. It's kind of interesting what's in here, but it's lemon. That's my lipstick at the top. But it's lemon and ginger that I have like soaking in here. Really, really good for like for your system. There's obviously, we're in a pandemic, so you want to make sure your system is on point. Never know what can happen. we stay pretty safe around here, but you know, still, so. Okay. So, let's get started. You know what I'm gonna do though? I'm actually gonna bring, I'll be right back, Grandma, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that we're doing at once. So I love to listen to motivational things, whether it's advice about life, whether it's motivation on how to get wealthy, whether it's motivation on self-care, self-love, how to be a better person. I'm like really, the last 5-6 years I've been like obsessed with anything like that. So I'm gonna go over to YouTube and have that going at the same time, but you guys are more than welcome to ask questions. I was actually listening to this like really cool.
Do you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in their
This
body
really
by
cool
any given hour?
podcast about this young 14-year-old that he retired his mom and his whole family by selling shirts. I think I'm gonna be done with them. Okay, so I'm gonna have.
People that just get by are selfish. You're selfish. Because you're always talking about yourself.
Let's see what else.
I tried to go from 30 to 100.
Let's see what else.
With all the same problems. I went far with it.
This is an interesting video about.
The seeds that you sowed at that age, you're like reaping them. Like naturally, right now,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
been like.
Nipsey Hussle video is on. See, she's like in her meditative state.
Just to that point,
And
like plant
make
seeds.
sure this is on the lower side so she doesn't affect her ears so much. So we're just gonna clean. Let's see. I'm not gonna do this. So that's okay. So let's put. What am I gonna put in here? So what I'm doing is I'm organizing all of like the beauty products because, I mean, since the pandemic hit and really just like dealing with her, we've just kind of like let like the drawers and the cupboards and things like just fall out of like organization. So we're gonna put them, taking one little section at a time and just getting back really highly organized. So I'm gonna put my everyday stuff here, but since I'm on here, I might as well just like speak. Maybe I'll just turn this off. Listen to that later. Yeah. So I'll just kind of speak freely about the caregiving journey and what it's taught me. So dementia, for those of you who don't know what it is a condition where it's an umbrella term for a number of other spin-off conditions from dementia. So it's dementia up here, and then there's like Lewy body dementia, frontal temporal dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and several others. I think there's several. I'm not going to say hundreds, but there's several different types of different dementias. But my grandmother, she has frontal, she has temporal dementia. So specifically, even under that, it's small cell ischemia. So her brain cells, once they die off, new brain cells do not continue to grow. So that's the condition that she has. And so it's really, it's a very slow process, which is why it's a tough journey, because you never really know what process or what area of her brain is going to shut down. And so at the beginning it was confusing because, number one, we just weren't educated. My family and I, we weren't educated on how this process went, what it was about, how serious it really was. We just kind of thought, hi, Mr. 2K a day. I'm on that energy too. I'm on that energy too. This is my beautiful grandmother. She just kind of like, she has dementia, and I'm just kind of explaining her condition to everybody. You guys are more than welcome to ask questions, but you can kind of see she just kind of, I do read to her. I read to her. We listen to podcasts together. We laugh together. You know, even like right now, I'm organizing and I have her sitting in here with me. You know, I don't just have her off in a corner somewhere and I'm, you know, in the zone over here. I really try to like do everything I can to incorporate her and engage her in things that I'm doing or that I need to do around the house. Like, you know, obviously, you know, I have to keep up with the cleaning for herself. You know, she can't clean her room. You know, I do a lot of like head to toe care for her. So yeah, it's a lot. So sometimes like I'll have to, you know, be in charge of her, engaging with her, but then I have to like do chores. So I just have been getting creative and trying to figure out ways to just have her next to me or with me. Like right now she's kind of in a nap, like a meditative nap type of state, and which is good. Around this time of day she usually like takes a nap, but she does have a sensory pillow, and then she also was like messing with some packaging that I had unwrapped some stuff, and she like was really drawn to it. Like I said, she loves to organize, so she probably was thinking, ooh, you know, what can I put in there, you know? Here, Grandma, you want that?
Okay.
Yeah. It's nice, huh? It's clear. It's nice and strong. So, let's see. What was one of the most memorable times you had? Oh, that's a good question. Ooh. It's a good one, but it's a hard one because I have so many. I mean, I would say just us singing and dancing together. And then we both crack a lot of jokes. Like, like my funny, silly, goofy personality comes from her. Like, when I was a kid, she was always like playing a trick or like cracking a joke or just laughing. Like us just singing and laughing and just, I would say singing and laughing together. But there's like millions of memories of me doing that from when I was a child until now. So it's really hard for me to just say one, but just like that spirit of like, of just positivity and just fun. I would say more fun. Because trust me, if you were not doing something good, she's sassy too. She would be like, She used to have a paddle that she wrote the law on. Okay. She wrote literally in black ink, the law on this paddle, and she hung it up on the wall and was like, if anyone acts up, you're about to get the law. Like she was like that. And like, it was funny, but like she was actually like low-key serious. And I think my brother and my cousin got the law a couple times. I don't think I ever got the law, or maybe I did and I just blacked that memory out of my head, blocked it. I have a blackout period now with it because it might have been a traumatic experience. But yeah, she was lit. She was lit back in the day when it came to being obedient and being on point, which I think most grandmas are, you know, like that's like nothing new. So yeah, so that is that. But yeah, so her condition, nowadays the days really look like, the days are, they're very routine, but you kind of still don't know what to expect every single day. So you kind of just go into it with a positive outlook, not a lot of high expectations for things to go right. I mean, you know, there's, again, I care for her hygienic, you know, all her hygiene things too, from head to toe. So like sometimes things go rogue with that. You know, she's not aware of certain things, like, you know, she does wear undergarments and things like that, and she's like picking and tugging at that, or like with her hair. That's why we have it in this like cute little afro, because she, even if we have it braided or like in a bun, which we'll still do sometimes here and there, but then she'll try to pick it apart. So like then we have to convince her not to do that. So I mean, just like a lot of things that we have to deal with her condition. So, you know, I can't lie, at the beginning it was extremely frustrating because my mom and I and the rest of my family just didn't understand it. You know, I would say, I think the reason why I've been having the inspired action to be more open about me caring for my grandmother with dementia. You know, obviously this is, you know, I've been reading a lot about it, and it seems like we shouldn't be ashamed of somebody going through this condition. You know, before it was like, oh, don't tell anybody, or oh, and it's like, what I'm reading is like, it's part of her process, and we should be honoring her process and treating her with the best care that we can during this process. And so if that means, you know, we're, you know, telling close friends and neighbors and things like that, so that way they're aware, you know, if they see, like I had told, there was one time where she walked out of the door. You know, this was like 2 years ago. She just walked out of the door. Mind you, she doesn't have any sense of direction or anything like that. And she used to have a pet actually when she was younger, but no, not in this stage. And it was a Great Dane too. It was beautiful. But she just walked out of the door, had no recollection of, or had no idea where she was going, but she was able to speak more, and she was a lot more mobile and aware, but she was not in a condition to be by herself. She walked out of the door, and she just stood out in front of the apartment, you know, like she was waiting for somebody. But my mom and I were freaking out because we're like, oh my God, where'd she go? We just ran outside, and luckily she was sitting in front of the apartment. But that's when we realized, like, wow, we have to get a special lock on the door. It was like, we kind of had to learn the hard way, because we weren't super educated. And, you know, sadly with this condition, the primary care doctor, I mean, they say, oh, you know, get with the Alzheimer's organization, but they don't really sit you down and say, this is what you have to expect. These are the different stages, and like go into an extensive detail. It kind of was just like, oh, she has frontal temporal dementia. Here's the pills that she needs to take twice a day. Stay on top of her health, and then that was it. And so we're just like, okay, well, I guess this is just part of old age. But no, it's a whole nother ball game. It's different from somebody. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's different when somebody's like 80 and they're just forgetting things because of like they're old. So it's like, oh, where do I put my keys, or where did I put that? I don't know. Where's that one pair of pants I'm looking for? You know, that's kind of like normal stuff, but dementia, it literally affects your life. Like, it affects your ability to be on your own. And so, yeah, when she walked out, I was like, I have to alert the entire apartment. Like, if you ever see, luckily we had gotten that lock, which saved our life. And I'll show you guys that lock, maybe even on live today. But once we got that lock, you know, I was like, we have to tell everybody, because if she was able to still figure out how to get through the lock somehow, you know, and people saw her roaming around, if people didn't know she had dementia, you know, in our apartment building, then they would just think that she just was, you know, a resident here and she was doing whatever she wanted to do, walk off the property. But because we told people that, it was like, you know, we had like the staff on board, we had like loving neighbors on board that would keep an eye out if they ever saw her or anything like that, or like would offer, you know, help with things. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. We should just be, as caregivers, staying on top of the education behind it, which is so much education, and there's studies and, you know, just like new discoveries and all these things. And it's actually a primary care doctor, I can't imagine would ever say this, but it actually has been proven to be preventable, or at least prolonged from ever getting. So, you know, I wish that we would have known a lot of stuff that we know now. I mean, we know, I've been caring for her for 6 years, and yeah, I've been caring for her for 6 years, and so I've learned I almost feel like, I even want to count out my hours. I think like after 10,000 hours, you're technically an expert at something, and I feel like I'm almost there. So, could you look at that? But yeah, so, you know, there's so much I've learned, but I wish I just would have known what I know now then, and I could have, you know, just by reading like certain books or getting with certain organizations. Like we have Alzheimer's LA out here, so they host Zoom calls and seminars all the time, and so I hop on those and I get a lot of really good information. There's tons of Alzheimer's websites and dementia websites, and you know, even coming down to like understanding what she's covered, you know, what her insurance covers, you know, as far as her level of care. You know, for like a year we had no idea that she gets free diapers, bed pads, bed sheets, all that. We were buying all that, and that was adding up, you know. That was like a new expense that we weren't used to incurring. And so that would be, you know, $150, $200, you know, every 2 weeks. Because, you know, obviously when you're dealing with incontinence issues, you know, things can get messy. And so, but, you know, after me and my mom and my other family members, you know, doing our own research, they're like, oh, see if our insurance covers this. And it's like, why didn't our doctor tell us that? Or why, you know? So I really wish, like, and maybe they do have this, maybe our experience was just one that was on the lower end. But my shirt is like crooked. But, you know, it wasn't like, hey, she has dementia, you guys need to call this number, and I want you to get with this group, and I want you to learn and start to go to seminars and, you know, read books and stuff like that, and then by next visit, I want you to tell me what you learned. Because it would kind of like hold the family member, you know, accountable to digging in. We just had no idea. It was like, I believe I want to like get confirmation from my mom, but I think it was just kind of like a pamphlet, and it was when she first, like I feel like when she was diagnosed, she probably had dementia for like 2 years prior. And then when she was getting further along, she was like, something's off. I just feel like I can't finish sentences. I feel like I don't remember complete blocks of time. So she was aware that she was forgetting. So then by the time she actually got diagnosed, it was kind of like she was out of the early stages and in the beginning of the moderate stages. So, but yeah, even then it was just kind of like, this is what she has. It's a very tough condition, but it takes time, you know, to really get bad. And we just didn't know to do all the things that we know now. So I really, you know, if anyone that you know has dementia, Alzheimer's, if you even hear that word or anything close, start doing your research, get with a, you know, some kind of organization in your city. I mean, it's really just as easy as Googling dementia Alzheimer's group near me. You know, it's the internet. We live in the age of the internet, which is so beautiful for things like that. But yeah, so, you know, we did not do that, and so we were just kind of like, you know, dealing with her forgetting things a lot, and then we would get frustrated with her, thinking that, you know, or she's just being difficult, or oh, she's just really mad because we didn't, you know, let her do something because, you know, she's weaker now and stuff like that. But no, it was literally her brain was shutting down, and she didn't know how to explain that to us, and then we didn't understand it. So it was just a big tug and a pull all the time. And look at this, Graham. Ooh. These are makeup wipes. Or not makeup wipes, but makeup applicators. She used to love doing makeup. So yeah, that's, you know, that's the reality of what we had to deal with. And, you know, I wish it had turned out a little bit differently, but we're here now. And I think with, you know, what we know now, we can, you know, get in front of it and we can have a different outcome. Do you know I love you? Oh, I love you too. Right, Grandma's laughing. Oh, I love it. But yeah, I mean, we did not know a lot. So I know. So as you can see, she does speak in jumbled speech. She can't speak anymore. So, you know, it's kind of, again, we just adjust to it, and my intuition has gone up because I have to kind of feel like I know what she wants. And so because of that, you know, I feel like I've become, me and her have developed our own language, which is kind of cool. We'll just be like, right, Grandma? And it just, I don't know, it's just like makes us feel better. Like, and maybe in another realm, it's us saying, hey, how you doing today? Like joking with each other, but we'll just both be like, or ooh, like we'll just she does it, so then I do it, and then it just makes her feel better. So yeah, it's just like we have our own, there's like several other little things like that, but you know, you just kind of like figure it out. It's kind of like when you're like a new mom, and you obviously you're dealing with an infant and have zero idea what they are, you know, thinking, but you can kind of just feel it, you know. It's just like, oh, you feel like they're hungry, or you feel like, you know, they you know, want to be held, or you feel like they need their diaper changed. I mean, you can just actually physically see that, but if they need their diaper changed. But yeah, you know, there's it's kind of like that in a way. But then it's interesting because we had to make some serious adjustments, because let me see, I'm gonna make this like a little lower. So I'm gonna be, oh no. There we go. I'm going to be bending a lot because I am cleaning this cover down here, and do that. Ooh. Okay, I wonder if I can even get like a, make sure she's all covered up here. I might even need to get like the stool. Let me see if I sit right here. Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'll be right back. Let me see, make sure you're covered up. Okay. Okay. I have my little seat here so I can sit. What was it like? So yeah, that's a really good question. That one was very, very confusing, but because she was already a senior, she was already retired, and she just has Medi-Cal, which is, you know, just like the basic insurance that comes with being a senior in California. I'm sure there's way better medical options out there, but yeah, she was already, she was, you know, taking her, oh, see, oh, that's okay, you can take it. See, I like when she does stuff like that, it keeps her engaged. See, that's why I have her with me, because she does stuff like that, and then it keeps her focused, and, you know, we're both on the same page. But, yeah, so her that's also why she's not in a home. That's a whole nother story. I'll explain that another time. But yeah, so she just has, she's already collecting, you know, just from being a senior, and just being, you know, up in age, and it already came with, she's on Medi-Cal. She's actually Medi-Medi. She's on Medi-Cal and Medicaid. She's eligible for that. So, you know, there is certain benefits, but then it's an HMO. So then, you know, there's very specific places that she has to go. And not all the places that we've gone that her insurance covers, not all places we've had the best experience, to be honest. So that has just been, that was a whole another issue too. A lot of days being spent on the phone with different insurance companies, with different, you know, like we would go to her primary care doctor, and they would say, okay, well, she needs to get her, you know, she needs to get her blood work done, and then she needs to go try to find, and then she needs to go, you know, find a blood work, like a place where they would draw her blood to send for testing. You need to find a place that would go under her insurance. So then sometimes, you know, we'd be like, okay, can you suggest a place? And they would suggest like a few places, but then those places would not be covered under her insurance. So then we would have to call her insurance and say, hey, we were giving these suggestions, they don't work, but do you have any suggestions, because she needs to get this blood drawn. So it just, and then, you know, she can't do any of that stuff on her own anymore. So it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of spending a lot of time sitting on wait times, and a lot of back and forth and stuff like that. So you know, that unfortunately, you know, when it comes to like the financial department, you know, my grandmother, you know, she's just on the one that California provides for seniors, in her position. So yeah, so I'm sure every state has that. I'm not really sure where you are, but just you know, look up like ours is Medi-Cal. I don't know what it would be called in other states. I'd have to like do some research on that. That's like another thing I can really dig into, just to have a general knowledge about that. But if you just get with like your county and just start there, you know, just start with the county department, the health department, county department, and just like literally, it's just like that's kind of like what it was. It was like, even with me becoming a caregiver, you know, I'm a caregiver under IHSS, but I didn't even know what that was called. I was like, okay, well, grandma needs help. I'm gonna have to start to work part-time, which now, because at first I was doing part-time and then part-time somewhere else. I know we both have these big old bubbles, huh? So yeah, so I was doing part-time somewhere else, and caring for her, but then now I'm doing full-time caregiving for her. So I'm under the state of California. I am in home supportive services, but I had to figure out what that even was. So I had to like, so I knew she had Medi-Cal, so I just started there. I just called Medi-Cal, was like, hey, I want to become a caregiver. What do I do? And then they, you know, gave me a number to call, and then I had like left a message with whatever entity that they told me to call, and then I just literally typed in caregiver, becoming a caregiver on the internet, and then all these different websites popped up, and then in-home supportive services popped up, and I was like, okay, well, let me just like call a few of them. And so just like between, you know, her insurance and then me doing my own research, I kind of ended up finding in-home supportive services, which is a government program that the state offers, which unfortunately isn't guaranteed every year either, because depending on what the state budget is, they may not see this program as something necessary, but it obviously is, because if I can't take care of her, my mom is working full-time and doing her master's, my other family members are married with kids and all these things, so I was the only one that could really take care of her. And if I'm not able to do that and get paid, I'd have to work obviously somewhere else, and she wouldn't be able to get watched. So it's just like, it is, there's thousands, I would say even several million people in California, all over the United States dealing with this. So that's another struggle too, because I'm always getting messages from in-home supportive services saying, hey, you know, make sure, you know, to call in and put your vote in for, you know, this for this program not to be cut, because, you know, the governor, you know, is potentially deciding to cut this because he doesn't necessarily think it's necessary, and just all that stuff. So there's just so many things that comes with this. Is this even good anymore? Yeah, it's like a little face mask. I think I'm going to use that later. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things that come up, you know, with this process, and it can get overwhelming. You know, I can't lie, it can get very, very overwhelming, and, you know, we've definitely had very, very frustrating. I hope that does help, because I like, you know, maybe one day I'll sit down and actually like really go through my process, so that way I can like have it organized to like present to someone that needs help. Like, okay, I called this entity, I called this number, I but it was just a matter of hundreds of phone calls all the time. And then also my grandmother, you have to apply for Medi-Cal every year. So if you miss the deadline for that, you'll get kicked out of the Medi-Cal. Then your loved one won't be covered. So yes, definitely you just start with the county. Like if you just go, like I know we have like a LA City County, like where you would go to get your social security card. Like you could even start if you were just completely clueless, or some kind of like whatever entity is in your state or city that handles insurance for people in need. And again, you know, there's other insurances that we pay for privately. Like we pay for her visual and her dental out of our own money. But yeah, the other insurance is from the state. So yeah, yeah, I'm sure every single city has an entity that provides that information. But if you just literally had no idea, I'm sure every single city has a social security department. So just go to the social security department and say, hi, direct me to where I can get insurance for a loved one. Because, you know, with social security, they're all kind of connected to each other. I'm noticing it's kind of like there's just like a web of, yeah, like a web of government programs, and they all tie into each other, but they're all separate. So it's very interesting, but just be prepared. Just take a day. Like I used to just be like, wake up, get my coffee, and just be like, I gotta start making phone calls. I've even had to physically go down to the departments and just figure it out, you know, and I just sit, you know, kind of like being at the DMV, and you get like a ticket and you just have to wait. Then you talk to someone and say, hey, you know, I am trying to get her, because there's been a couple of years where she was, got knocked out of her Medi-Cal insurance, because they do things by mail too. Different states most of these states are still doing things by mail, so then we would miss, you know, for some reason it wouldn't get to us in the mail, so then we wouldn't even know. So then we would be getting, like, the mail that would get to us would be like you are now officially not covered, and we'd be like, wait a minute, where's that? We never even got the other one. So the lead up, yes, it is very, very difficult getting through. So because of that reason, that's why I just like set up a day, got up at 6 a.m. and was out of the house and right at the office right when it opened. And if I knew I had to sit there all day, that was just what I did for the day, because I was like, I'm not leaving here until I get an answer. Like I've literally even had to like speak with some representatives, like if I didn't feel like I was being directed in the right area, or like if I walked away, like, and I felt like I was going to be confused if I walked away, I'd be like, no, I'm not understanding. Like, so who do I need to call? What does she need for eligibility? What paperwork do I need to fill out? Who do I then need to talk to? And then you want to make sure to stay organized and document all that. Like I have all of what I just said on like a notepad. So maybe one day I'll like even cut that down even more and like present it as like a 1 to 10 step process on like how to get somebody, you know, checked for someone's insurance. But yeah, that was like, and again, I think if I had been warned about it, I don't think I would have been as overwhelmed. But because my family and I just did not know, you know, we just didn't know about all the different things that come along with this process, you know, alongside just the mental breakdown of things and her forgetting how to do things, and she really can't do anything for herself anymore. All the logistics, you know, all of her affairs need to be put in order. Her email, her bank, you know, her car. She had a car. All of her things, making sure we're organized with all that stuff. All of her belongings. You know, it's just, you literally, and the reason why, it's like having a kid, but it's not, because when you have a baby, I mean, they're just a little baby, and they don't own things, and they don't have bank accounts, and they don't have like affairs, you know. It's just like they need their bottle, they need their diapers, they need their mom and their dad, you know, like it's just very basic. And then they have like their clothes and all that set up, but it's a whole other ball game when you're dealing with someone that had a whole life and then can't do anything for themselves, and then you have to completely take over those things. And then again, she's, you know, she's going through this deterioration of her brain. So mind you, you know, now in an interesting way, even though she's further along, she's at an advanced stage in her dementia, she has released any, she doesn't make any decisions. She can't, like, she wouldn't even know to make a decision. You know, even as I'm speaking, you know, most people would chime in and be like, I know how to make decisions. Like, she doesn't even see, like, even that, you know, like, just like not even like her forgetting how to hold on to stuff, and you know, it's just what happens. But here you go, you want it back? You can have it back. So, you know, even that, like, she's not even aware of really what I'm talking about, even though I'm like right in front of her, you know. So it's just a very interesting journey, and you know, and it's not to be taken lightly. And I think at the beginning, my family and I took it way too lightly and just didn't understand it, and that's why I'm just on this journey of sharing. And you know, if anyone ever has any questions or anything like that, or if you guys know anybody, you know, definitely direct them to my DM. Just think of the one that and it is so scary to think about. it's really scary to think about. Like, we had to take her to the emergency room like 6 months ago. Her oxygen just all of a sudden kind of dropped, and which it didn't actually. I actually think the doctor's machine was just broken, because we took her to the emergency room and they're like, her oxygen is fine. So we had to take her to the emergency room though. And when we took her in there, I was just kind of talking to the nurses, and I was like, yeah, we were thinking about putting her in, like a dementia care, elderly home unit. And they were like, don't put her in there. Don't, if you can avoid it, or like if you can put her in like a very, one that is very, very safe and high security, and those are typically very expensive. When we were looking, it was like $3,000, $4,000 a month, just for the medium tier ones that have like the extra level care, and just that's not realistic for my family right now. So so there is ones that are covered under her insurance, but then again, they don't have dementia care units for a lot of these elderly homes. So a lot of senior homes, the seniors are still, they're pretty much there still, but they just need a lot of help. That's not what she needs. She needs actual dementia care unit, which is like this level. I mean, it's almost like 24-hour care. So there's a very select few in LA, and then she got put on a waiting list, and she still has not gotten called, and that was 2 years ago. And obviously for a waiting list for something like that, you have to wait for someone to pass away, and then depending on where she's at on the waiting list. So I brought that up to say, like, to your point of that has no one, because a lot of times these seniors that have dementia do get into a home, and depending on the level of care that that particular home gives, there's been horror stories of them getting neglected, or and then it's not like you can ask, hey, like, how's your experience been while you're in there. They can't tell you, because they don't know how to speak, or they don't have any their cognitive abilities, their ability to discern things, their ability to reason. I mean, just everything. They don't have it anymore. So you're just having to. I know we do look a lot alike. I think I look like her more than my mom, which is interesting. But yeah, so it's a lot of people that don't have anybody do get placed in those homes, and from what the nurses were telling me at the emergency room, that more than likely they just die within a week. Like, that's how quick they decline, because when you already have dementia, things are already dying off. But then outside of even dementia, if you just don't feel like you have value at that age, you kind of just feel like you have no reason to live. And then plus, if they're getting their medication on time, if they're getting their food on time, and then they don't eat. With my grandmother, I have to actually feed her, or sit, and she actually doesn't let us feed her half the time, but if she we'll place food in front of her, she can't use a fork or knife anymore, but we'll make sure every 5 minutes, hey grandma, go ahead, here you go, or we'll pick up like whatever it is, like a piece of chicken, put it in her hand, and then make sure she eats it. They're not necessarily going to do that all the time at some places, because they don't have time. They're caring for like maybe 10 patients during their whole shift. So it's just, we've just decided that maybe it's God's way of telling us that we don't need to put her in a home, with her not going into a home, with her not having, with her, not necessarily getting a call. We're like, maybe this is God's way of just saying, hey, I want you. You need to be in this season of high level of service to your grandmother, and this is what it is. So, I think I've been inspired to just have people, join our journey, and if I can help anybody else that's going through the same thing. Oh, I got some cute eyelashes that I forgot about. And this is some whitening toothpaste. Just like going through all this stuff. But yeah, if I can help anybody through this journey, it's a difficult one, and I learned my mom and I and my aunt and everyone. I mean, it's mainly me and my mom that are full-time. The rest of the family doesn't help really, honestly, at all. But that's a whole nother level too, because you start to really see how family members are going to involve themselves in this. And so I can't lie, we've had some ups and downs when it comes to the level of care we feel like people should be involved, you know, with my grandma's process and things like that. So it's just, it's very eye-opening, it's very challenging on the spirit. You know, you definitely, when it comes, you talk about challenge, it's a challenge to just adjust to this. But you know, what I do and what I remember every day is like, she's cared for all of us. Like she was the matriarch of the family. You know, she quit her job to take care of me when I was a baby to help my mom out. And so, you know, and she's done some amazing stuff for other members in the family. And that's just what keeps me remembering, like, it shouldn't even be a question. You know, we should just be with her in this stage of her life. Do you have any pics of her when she was your age? I do actually. I actually just came across one when she was like, yeah, I think I do. I actually just came across one today. Yeah, we do favor a lot. You know, just like the big eyeballs, the big nose, like the way that our face is shaped. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you know, I mean, that's just where we're at. That's the reality of what we got going on. Hi. I'll take this because I'm going to put this in here. And then you want to hold this for me? Thank you. You know, I mean, and it took me a long time to get to this place. I can't lie. You know, I'll probably do several videos because I feel like this process has endless areas to talk about, because I had to get to a space where I was like checked in. My mom had to get to a space where she was checked in, because I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like, oh, my grandma needs a high level of care now, and I just am so happy to take over. It wasn't like that. You know, I was traveling a lot. You know, I'm a young lady, you know, going on dates and doing different jobs in LA and things like that, just, you know, living my life. And so, you know, there's definitely been some sacrifice, but, you know, I'm at an amazing place now, but, you know, there was some adjustment to that, you know. And again, I didn't have to, I could say, hey mom, I can't take care of her. You know, I could have done that too, and I just, that would make me feel disgusting in my spirit if I ever did something like that, you know. So I just was like, I'm able to do it, don't have any kids, I'm not married, you know, I can quit my other job and do this for this season. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, how I think of it now is I get to take care of her. Like, I'm lucky, I'm blessed to be able to take care of her. You know, before I was like, oh man, like, you know, my mom was really going through it, I was going through it, you know, and again, we weren't educated, so we didn't understand her condition, so we didn't know that it was happening to her. We thought she was just being difficult, right? We had no idea, you know, that her brain was just shutting down. And so, and you know, we were told, okay, yeah, you know, during the process of dementia, you know, she's going to start to forget things, and things are just going to get more difficult to happen for her, and she might need some help, you know, getting dressed and stuff like that. It was just presented very lackluster, and then it's a whole nother ballgame when you're actually dealing with the day-to-day. So again, I don't know if that just was our unfortunate experience, you know, being introduced to it, or, and it was, I will say it was like that at like when she first got diagnosed, but then it was like after a year, it was like every 2 months, like something else would shut down. Absolutely, I could live with yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't live with myself either. It's just like, am I really going to be that selfish? Are my other family members, my mom, are we going to really be that selfish? It's like somebody that cared for the entire family that is in existence right now, and we're just going to be like, oh, let's just put her in a home. Which, I'm going to say this, every family has a different level of issues and circumstances. So there is some families where the best thing is for them to be in a home. And especially if you can afford the really, really good ones, like the $5,000, $6,000 a month, you know. Oh, no, this makeup is broken, so I don't want it to get all over the place. Here, you can have this. This is my. Yeah.
My son.
Yep, that's yours. So, cute grandma. So yeah, I mean that's just the reality. That's just the reality of what's gone down, how this process is, what we've gone through. Had to get right in my mind. My mom had to get right in her mind, and we just are now all in it. We're in it. We're gonna go hard. We're gonna be the best, caretakers that somebody could possibly be, and have fun with it and laugh. And hello, to be me. That's a good question. She randomly will say, like the other day she said, hey Cece, which is my nickname. She hasn't said that in a year, an entire year. So yeah, there's like little glimpses, and we really, really celebrate and love those moments. Those are the moments that we just are like, it's almost like a gift from God, when we hear those things. So it's really, really cool. That's really, really kind of you. That's kind of you to say. But yeah, I mean, she very far and few between, but when she does, we're really excited about it. It brightens up our day when she does. And she does say certain things, like she'll say, what will she say? She says, she can say hi, like if I say hi and I catch her in the right perfect mood, she'll say hi back. Or if I say, like, okay, if I say, hey grandma, see how she's not like responding, but if I say, hey Charlesetta, see? So like she knows her name. So if I say grandma, she doesn't know grandma, but she knows Charlesetta. So that's what's cool. And then you just learn those things too, like as condition goes, like you just learn, like, okay, because I think she's literally been called Charlesetta since birth. So that is like an imprint deep, but like and they typically do revert back to like the childhood time period, which she already went through that stage even, and now she just even forgot that, and then now there's just like the foundational pillars, like her name. And she says, that's what she said, she'll go, wait a minute, like that'll be like a clear sentence for some reason that is so embedded in her head. But like other than that, she just speaks like in gibberish, like she'll just like and then frontal, and then there's so many different types of dementia too, like I was saying earlier. So she has frontal temporal dementia, so that affects her ability to speak. So maybe she does remember more than we probably know, but because she can't speak and it's just as gibberish, we don't really know what she knows. Other dementias, like I've seen some extremely advanced dementias, but it's like Lewy body and other ones where they're still able to speak. And so then you kind of can just, at least they can like say their emotions. But like my grandma, she can't speak, so it's just like I've turned into like a mind reader. Like I've always been an intuitive person. We all have intuition, but I feel like this has forced me to like go into the realm. She can't write anymore. No, she can't write. She can't cook. She can't. She can barely hold. She'll hold on to something for a while, but like she'll then forget it's in her hand. So then she'll just like drop it like that, and she'll still have her hand open. Like not realizing. So yeah. So it's very interesting to see like the different things that she can and can't do. But so she can't speak. So that's why we have to stay extra on top of her. If she's hurting, like if she hit her leg, or if she has a pain in her stomach, or if she has a headache, she can't say it. So we just have to kind of like really pay attention to her mood. And then once we kind of notice like, oh, she's kind of sleeping a little more than she usually does, or she's kind of like just staring off into the distance more than she usually does, or she's not eating today like she did yesterday. We have to really be in tune, like dialed in to her behavior, because she can't speak. So it's a serious level of a ball game that we're playing, with her condition. And that's why I think I'm just so shook, why like a lot of people my age will just be like, oh, like that's like, I've heard about that before, or oh yeah, I know, it's like mostly old people get it, right? Or oh yeah, I know they forget things a lot. And it's like, and I used to think that too. I used to think it was more of like a lighthearted, like, you know, like a lighthearted condition that, you know, when you're old, you just kind of forget things here and there, and, you know, the grandkids will come around and help, and the parents will help, and we'll be fine. But it's not like that, you know. And I think, you know, we hear so much about cancer and all these other conditions. All of them are extremely serious. Her husband, my grandfather, passed away from prostate cancer. So, you know, we've had that in the family too. Cancer is very serious. Heart disease is very serious. You know, diabetes, all these things. But we don't really hear about Alzheimer's, dementia, and like how, I mean, there's literally 65 million people worldwide dealing with this. I mean, that's a big chunk of human beings across the planet dealing with this. So, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, there's a huge chunk of individuals dealing with this. And why are we not like, this should just be like something that is talked about just as much as cancer or just as much as anything else. And in a way, it's kind of like it's not like cancer as far as like, well, yeah, I mean, it has to deal with like her brain cells dying and her brain cells not multiplying anymore. You know, so it's like a type of cancer in a way, if you want to think about it like that. But it's just as serious of a condition. It just doesn't look like it on the outside. Well, she actually lost a ton of weight. She used to be like double, triple her size. But yeah, she's lost a lot of weight. She used to be like up in the 200s because she's 5'11". She's a tall lady. But and then now she's like 174 or something. So wow, you have to become her shadow. Yes. That's a good way to put it. You do have to become her shadow. And then also, that's actually a term in the dementia Alzheimer's world. Shadowing is what they usually do with the caregiver, because especially like in the early ages where like, or the early stages when they kind of know that things are happening and they're kind of forgetting and they just know something's off, they want to follow who they feel the most comfortable around, because they're like, you know, I don't know like what's happening to me, so they want to feel like they're around somebody that they can trust. So so yeah, that's a whole nother layer in itself too. You know, she has been a meat eater her whole life. My mom and I'm a vegan. My mom is kind of like a halfway vegan now. She's transitioning. So because the house, and I'm a living caregiver, so because the house is more of a vegan household, we do give her more vegan things than we ever have before, but we also are just, it's a slow transition off because she's just been having it for so long. We don't want to mess up, because she already doesn't eat enough because she just has no appetite. So we do give her meat products still for her. But we're just kind of like, you know, some days we'll do like for earlier we had like these vegan replacement eggs. We gave her that instead of like normal eggs, you know. But yeah, that's something that we have not decided to officially do as a family yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Again, you know, I think that with that, we don't want to mess up too much with what her body's been used to for 80 years. She's 80. You know, we don't want to put her on a vegan diet at 80 and it affects something. So, but again, we are, exactly. That's kind of like where we are with it. Like, she doesn't eat in general. So like if we can get something down her throat, like that's more what we're focused on, rather than like a vegan diet. But I will say, like, we do try to make the best choices for her. Like she has a green juice every day. She has a protein shake every single day. We try to incorporate as many greens as much as possible. Fruits, you know, she doesn't eat like anything that we give her, like whole grains, like we shop at Whole Foods, so we give her like whole grain, whole wheat waffles. You know, we won't give her like the generic like extra fake stuff. We'll give her Ezekiel bread. Which she really likes. So, you know, she loves burritos for some reason. She's like obsessed with burritos, so we give her a lot of burritos. And so yeah. But these are all like really, really good questions. And
sometimes too,
see, like right now she said the word sometimes, like she doesn't ever say that. So like that's like, I don't know if she's excited to be be on the live with you guys, but she doesn't usually say the word sometimes, so that was cool. So yeah, so that is, uh-oh. So we have a lot to clean here, but, so this, just kind of cleaning at the same time. I'm on a rice and beans, or on beans bin, but maybe it's just the white beans one. Yeah, we do rice and beans too, but again, so like, things like that she can't eat anymore. Only because she can't pick up a spoon and she won't let us feed her. So like things that are like you have to have a spoon for, or like you have to have a fork for, like we sometimes we'll try to make it into a way that she can eat it, but like rice, like loose rice or loose beans, like she can't eat that anymore. So it's interesting, like, you know, how our options have like slimmed down, because like, you know, if we wanted to give her like even like salad, like we can't really give her, well, we've actually started to give her like just big pieces of salad, and she'll pick up the salad lettuce and then just like eat it like a chip, you know, but like little salad, like where you need a fork, like she can't eat that anymore. So we just make sure to get her greens in other ways, you know, just kind of get creative in that way. So what is this? Yeah, she does. She has, she even has her, where'd she put it? Like this is her sippy cup. She's obsessed with it. It's cool because it doesn't spill, obviously. And then she just sucked her juice down. But, and she likes to be able to see her juice too. Like we have another sippy cup and it was solid. Like you couldn't see the liquid, and she like wouldn't drink out of it. So she likes see-through cups. She does do well with the straw. So that's honestly, I think, what's been even giving her some kind of strength, because we give her protein shakes every day, and we put coconut oil, like because it has MCTs in it, which is good for the brain. We give her turmeric, we give her, you know, protein, we give her collagen. We just like I don't give her all that in one, but like we'll give her a couple of protein shakes throughout the day, and you know, she gets her nutrients in that way. And then, you know, whatever she can actually eat, we will take it, you know. But thank God she still is drinking with a straw, because like this, forget it, this kind of motion is game over. I mean, it just was like we were going through, again, that's another thing we didn't know. We just thought she was being negligent, like just like not caring, but no, it's her condition. Like her brain was shutting down, so it wasn't telling her to like hold her cup up straight, you know. But the beautiful thing is, like, you know, we can give her excellent level of care, and then because we're so informed with it now, we can actually do, the whole family can do, friends and family can do preventative things to never even think about having to deal with dementia in everyone else's early, you know, later life, you know, later on in their elder years. Like me and my mom, like we're so on top of it, you know, so we're not going to have to deal with, you know, by God's grace, not have to deal with stuff like that. But, you know, this condition, if maybe we would have caught it earlier, we would have been able to prevent it from getting to where it is now. But you know, it's just, I feel like I get mixed research about it. Like, it's curable, it's not curable, it's curable. And that goes into a whole nother level of, like, you know, is the medical system just wants to keep people sick and da-da-da-da, but it really is curable. And if you just put them on like all these things. But what I do is I go the holistic route as much as I possibly can with her, with the best intentions. So if she does miraculously get better by like us, you know, giving her a lot of supplements and stuff like that we've been giving her, amazing. But supposedly you can cure dementia, especially if you catch it way, like, ridiculously early. It's something that you don't have to necessarily deal with. And you know, I'm talking a lot, so I'm gonna take a little sip. Sugar plays a lot into it, you know. You boil the vegetables and get soft, and then it loses. It's true. Yeah, no, that is true. It does lose most of its nutrients when you steam vegetables. It really should just be eaten, like, cleaned off and eaten raw. That would be the ideal way. That's why we give her, like, like, you know, you can buy super greens, like it's like powder, and it has all different types of vitamins and minerals and different, like kale, you know, kale and I mean, just every single type of, you know, spinach, like, and it's in like a powder form. So then we give it to her that way in her shakes because, you know, again, the steaming thing. But I mean, you can still do that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you kind of just do the best you can. You know, you don't want to like limit yourself too much. If she's going to eat steamed broccoli and that, you know, it's just getting something in her system, we'll take it, you know? Because that's the thing, we are at her mercy. So it's like, we would love to give her the best of the best and all these things and soups and but it's just, is she gonna actually like put it in her body or allow us to give it to her? You know, that's really the challenge every day. And you know, sadly, again, I don't know the different level. I mean, depending on the level of care that an individual is getting in a home. I mean, I'm sure that there is several facilities out there that are great, but ones that just get kind of like your insurance kind of gets taken care of from like the basic insurance, you know, that level of care isn't the best most of the time. So, you know, that's why we're kind of just happy that we just decided to just, because we, you know, again, we were like, okay, well, you know, she's up in age, she has dementia, you know, we'll put her in a facility and she'll get 24-hour care and da-da-da. And then people are like, do you know what really happens in those facilities? And we're like, no, like, you know, what do you mean? But I guess it's not good all the time. So, you know, we're just gonna kind of take the challenges as they come and go with our intuition. You know, we never know. It may get to a point where we do have to put her in like a facility. If it just, I mean, but we kind of we're pretty much ahead of the game, I feel like, because we've gone through some wild, crazy things with this process. You know, she used to try to leave the house at 3 a.m. every night for like 3 months straight. You know, I mean, we've gone through a lot of it. So now she's just kind of like, doesn't try to escape anymore, but like she doesn't try to leave anymore. You know, she just kind of, she gets into things, but she's very slow. So we're able to like stop her. And then we have the house dementia proof. So, and we're still finding things that we have to continue to keep, like it'll be something else that we're like, oh, didn't know about that. Like she had figured out how to open up her covers. Okay. She figured out how to open up her covers and pull out the cotton that was in the covers. Like she like ripped it open, pulled out the cotton and started trying to put it in her mouth. And so thank God we have, see, she's a jokester. But yeah, that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to go with the cotton. And so we caught it, thank God, because we're so aware of what everything that she does and we're always paying attention to her. And we were like, Grandma, you can't do that, you know, like what are you doing? So we got that, thank God. But yeah, you know, it's a serious condition, and if we weren't paying attention or if she was in a home, you know, are they always looking on the monitors and things like that? We also have a monitor, so even if we're out of the room for whatever reason, like if we're not in this, because like she has her own room, so if we're like in the kitchen or something like that, you know, we have a monitor that we can view her on, like a baby monitor. So yeah, I mean, you know, are they catching that stuff at a home when they have 10 other people that they have to pay attention to and give medications to and feed and all that stuff? I mean, so it's just, it's tough. It's just kind of a tough one to really, for me to ever really feel comfortable. Now that I know the level of attention that she needs, it kind of makes me a little nervous to really trust that she's getting next level, you know, attention and being paid attention to on a level where it's like, between my mom and me, there's eyes on her, and the monitor, there's eyes on her all the time. And then, you know, we have a lock on the door, and then I have to get her out of the bed, so she can't get up out of the bed anymore. So at night when she's asleep, we're past the stage where she was trying to like get out. Now she just like goes to sleep throughout the night. So that's, randomly she'll kind of be up throughout the night, but she also did go through a stage where her circadian rhythm was messed up, so she was up all night and then would take naps throughout the day. So now we're at a level, at least this stage, she's been sleeping throughout the night, so we don't have to worry about that too much. So it's just like, obviously she wakes up like she kind of sleeps in late, like 9:30 all the way till like midnight. Exactly, it's a lot. And so my mom is a late bird, I'm an early bird, so it kind of just, it's manifested into a situation where it kind of works out, and we're able to figure it out. But yeah, I can't lie, we've come a long way to get to the point of like just being at peace with this. So yeah, well, I think I'm just gonna focus on, what are you doing?
No.
You like those?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to focus on organizing, but I really enjoyed talking to everybody today. You guys asked some really, really great questions that kind of sparked me to maybe, get some things organized for you guys, kind of like a 1, 2, 3 step of what to do, with figuring out insurance and stuff like that. The questions you guys asked were really, really good, and everyone was really respectful on the live. I really appreciate it, because that is also something I am concerned with being on these lives. But yeah, so that's all. If anyone has any questions about dementia, DM me. I'll be more than happy to answer any of them, or send you to the right person to be able to answer your questions about dementia or Alzheimer's. If you guys know anybody that needs help with dealing with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, or someone that has dementia or Alzheimer's and doesn't have any help, there is ways to get them help. So yeah, definitely DM me, and that's all. All right, thanks for tuning in. Bye. Say bye, Grandma.